There's been a lot of music Mount Rushmores that have been going viral over the last couple of weeks, so we decided to bring some of these in and answer the question, are these Mount Rushmores actually valid? And guys, let us know in the comments if you think that they are or not, and make sure to smash that subscribe button if it's your first time watching a video on the NFR Plus channel. We do these every single week. But let's start off with the Atlanta Rap Mount Rushmore. This one comes to us from Complex Music, and they have Andre 3000, they have Future, they have T.I., and they have Gucci Mane.
Perfect.
Listen, first of all, we always see Andre 3K on here. I think that he's like a lock for every Atlanta Mount Rushmore.
Yes,
but what were you going to say?
I just think that this actually plays well into like not being a trap Mount Rushmore. I see more like trap Mount Rushmores where like 3 Stacks doesn't get included, and then like you'll see Gucci, T.I., Thug, and then after that Future.
Yeah.
When I look at Atlanta and I look at what's been sent here, bro, I'm sorry. Like these are low key the GOATs.
But where the fuck is Big Boy, bro? I feel bad for Big Boy because he always gets put in the corner,
yes,
bro.
Okay, but
people always overlook him.
Okay, who are you replacing Big Boy
with? Gucci Mane every single day, bro.
God.
When I did my top rappers of all, and Big Boy's influence isn't nuts on the Atlanta scene.
Yeah, it is.
Come on, bro. When you're looking at Big Boy, like he never gets the same level of respect as Andre, even though he contributed more solo albums. Looking at like Sir Lucius Left Foot, his performance on songs like General Patton, like he has always been a great rapper, has 2 good solo albums in his catalog, in my opinion, and he never gets the respect that 3 Stacks is. I'm tired of it, bro.
Yeah, Lou's tired of the
Big Boy his flowers.
He's tired of the Big Boy disrespect. I agree with you, though. Like, if you're going to include 3 Stacks, then I think there's a world where you kind of have to include Big Boy.
So who would you swap him out for?
But that's the problem, though, is that, like, I'm looking at Gucci Mane, and yeah, he's probably next in line, but what Gucci Mane did for the trap scene, especially in the mid to late 2000s, like, it was crazy, bro. That whole mixtape formula and the way that he was just garnering so much steam, iconic features over the years, the way that he carried the genre also in the early 2010s, right before he went to jail, like, there was a lot of Gucci material that carried that, genre forward. So I'm not looking at this as a situation where I'm saying Gucci Mane has to be the final lock here. But when it comes down to it, between Big Boy and Gucci Mane, I can see why they took Gucci Mane over Big Boy. But I do agree, like, if this list did have Big Boy, I would have felt better about it. I would have been happier as a fan. You get what I'm trying to say? But when it comes down to Future, I think there's no debate there. What Future did for the trap scene, the way that he brought it to completely different heights, the way that he was able to curate such a legendary discography as well as a solo artist.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
There's no denying that. And then after that, T.I. is like the Godfather.
What I want to do is, like, I want to play the game of, like, there's different people that could have been here. Should they have been here over some of these other guys,
like
right?
Young Thug should have probably been in conversation as well.
But not top 4. Jeezy is someone that I would have over someone like a Gucci and a T.I. for me. Like, he's...
I don't think over T.I.
Out of one of those
Gucci,
founding fathers, like, I think that he's built up a more impressive catalog, is a better like rapper and lyricist.
Does Jid enter this conversation?
Jid is on his way, but he's not quite there yet, in my opinion. But I will say there's one guy that's done everything that these guys have done on this Rushmore, but did it before them. If this was me making this Mount Rushmore list, it'd probably be Soulja Boy with 4 different expressions. I think that's really who you need to put
Honestly,
up here.
bro, that's not a bad take.
Soulja Boy? No, come on.
Take.
Not over these guys.
I'm sure there's going to be people that would be like, hey, man, you're onto something. But no, I think...
All jokes aside, yeah. What's your Rushmore for this? What would it be? 4 people.
So basically it comes down to like top 4 like Atlanta rappers of all time. I keep 3 Stacks. I keep Future. I keep T.I. And then after that... the 4th placement is between Gucci Mane, Jeezy, and Young Thug.
And Big Boy.
Yeah.
Not Big Boy. What the fuck's with the disrespect? Hey, listen,
like,
my Rushmore...
It's just, okay, who do you take, Jeezy or Big Boy all time?
Taking Big Boy. As an all-time list, yeah, I'm taking Big Boy.
That's fair. That's a fair claim.
Andre 3K, Big Boy, Jeezy, and Future. Those would be my 4. Let's keep on going.
The White Rappers Mount Rushmore. This got so much conversation.
It's such a crazy way to like curve the scale when it comes to looking at like rappers. Just because, listen, bro, the white boys don't always get to shine in hip hop, and I mean, listen, I feel like none of these guys besides Eminem would even deserve to be in like a real Mount Rushmore for all time rappers. Like they wouldn't even get close to the conversation for the most part.
Maybe if you did 2010s for Mac Miller though.
Yes.
I think Paul Wall is a great shout though, bro. Especially coming from Texas and the way that he developed that scene. All the iconic verses over the years, like
just his work with
legend
like
for
3-6 Mafia and
Incredible.
Mike Jones and like just that dirty South flair that he brought. Definitely a legend in the game, even though Wouldn't be in my list if I'm being honest.
Okay, how about Russ though? Russ is an interesting one. Like I'd probably have Action Bronson in front of Russ.
Yeah, I'd have Action Bronson in front. I'd have LP, who I think is definitely deserving of being on the list. But when it comes to Russ, maybe if it was like independent rappers Rushmore.
Hey, there we go.
Put him there.
Yeah, you could put him there. Mac Miller, Eminem, though, locks.
Those are locks. Those are guys that you cannot replace off of this Rushmore. Other shout-outs, Lil Ugly Mane, R.A. the Rugged Man, Matt Champion, Aesop Rock. Even though it's not my music, I respect the craft, but he wouldn't be in my Rushmore. Just based on like
NF
enjoyability.
would also be in conversation for a lot of different people.
Probably
as well, based on the large size of his fan base and also the material that he's put out. A lot of people do regard him as a top tier lyricist. So honestly, I think everything's low key valid here. Maybe I would just replace Russ with Action Bronson.
What about the fifth option? Because you do have, it's not traditional for Rushmores to have 5 people, but you do have John Cena here too.
Yeah, but you can't see him.
He's not. Yeah, he's there, but he's not there.
Not there. You
but
can't see
that's
him.
the most valid pick
by the
out
way,
of all of them.
Have you ever done like a deep dive into like Loki, some of his older material? Bro, some crazy shit.
John Cena was spitting, bro.
Dude, he was able to really lay it down. Anyways, though, I think this one's valuable. Let's keep going on with this.
I don't think it's valid though. Just to stop there. Like,
you don't think it's valid?
I don't think this is a valid Rushmore.
So,
I'd get Russ the fuck out of there. Russ could take a hike.
And then you put Action Bronson.
Russ can go. No, honestly, I would probably have
LP?
Eminem, Mac Miller, LP, and someone who I've been getting into as of late, and I still need to do more just dives on his music because I'm blown away by what he's able to do with a mic. Vinny Paz from Jedi Mind Tricks. His solo work, his group work, more of an underground pick, but in terms of just rap ability and someone who's been around the scene for decades, Vinny Paz would get the 4th pick. So that would be mine. But what about you? You'd keep it as is?
No, I would replace Russ and probably put Action Bronson
and LP.
I don't even know if I do LP over Paul Wall though.
Oh, okay.
Like think about like Southern hip hop and Texas hip hop. Paul Wall would definitely be on that Mount Rushmore.
Would he be for Southern hip hop? I don't think so, bro.
For Texas hip hop? For Texas hip hop,
there's better Texas
you would
rappers.
Have Scarface on there?
I could pull up 10 Texas rappers that are better.
Okay, who would you put in front of him? You had Scarface on there for sure.
Let's go through the repertoire of who we have.
Travis Scott for sure. Scarface.
You have Pimp C. I would put above Bun B. I'd put above Scarface. We said, yeah, he's already out of it. So I wouldn't put.
Well, he
Paul
would be
Wall
like
there.
in that conversation though.
Also, LP with the Run the Jewels work, an album like Fantastic Damage. No, I got to put LP above too.
All right, let's keep going on with this. Let's go on to Female Rappers Mount Rushmore. This was done by Billboard. This was an interesting one. Caused a lot of conversation in the community. We have Nicki Minaj, Missy Elliott, Lauryn Hill, and Lil Kim. Honestly, bro, like this is a good Mount Rushmore, bro.
This is a valid one. I want to say that.
That's a good one.
I want to say it's valid, but it could be better. Would you not agree? It could be a better Rushmore.
Okay, Lauryn Hill, Nicki, and Missy Elliott are locks.
Those are the locks. For me, it's Lil Kim. I understand she's like the blueprint female rapper for a lot of MCs.
But
she kind of paved the way. But that being said, I'm looking like there's some people that treat Rushmores differently.
Where it's like iconic status,
right?
Like,
are they legendary? Are they influential?
Yeah, faces of that said category. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you putting Little Sims there, for example.
I'm not.
Or Rhapsody?
I'm putting Rhapsody there. She made my top 50 rappers list. I think that she has a better discography than Lil Kim. I think that she's a better rapper than Lil Kim. Those are the types of things that matter to me. I want to say this too. Foxy Brown for me is someone else who I would put above Lil Kim. And she had the influence in terms of being part of the firm with Nas and being able to rap alongside rappers like Jay-Z and Method Man.
How about like a Mary J. Blige, or do you look at her as more of like an R&B?
She's not really a rapper.
But she does have rapping performances. She's always she's done crossovers.
But Foxy
before.
Brown is someone that should have been on here. Even her albums like Il Nana, that's a really good debut album for an MC. And just really solid 5-year run. Foxy Brown from 96 to 2001 was a special run.
What did she do after that? Did she go into more of like a pop direction with her
label
music?
Issues, bro. Just label issues? Personal issues. She kind of just stopped putting out material. But
I see.
She had a strong run.
But so it's a valid one, though.
It's valid. I'd go Lauryn Hill, Nicki, Missy, Rhapsody. What about you? You'd keep it?
I'd keep it, and I would consider Rhapsody based on the pure quality of the catalog and the rapping abilities. But let's keep going on with this. NYC rappers, Mount Rushmore. Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, and Jadakiss. The Jadakiss one's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
That's a hot
and you know what? Fucking poor Jadakiss, bro. AI, if you look at the picture for this, the way they sculpted his face, they really fucked it up hard, bro. They really messed it up.
Someone at Hot 97 just fucked up Jadakiss's face. Biggie J. Nas, though. That's no debate there.
No debate.
And then who would come in at the 4th spot?
Bro, I literally have a whole list of people. All of almost all of Wu-Tang Clan you can make arguments for.
Oh, I don't know if I put like, okay,
not everyone.
Sure.
Not everyone.
Method Man and GFK.
Method Man, GFK, Raekwon, I think, is above. You know why?
That's a tougher one, bro.
As much as I love Kiss the Game Goodbye, that's not a classic album. You have songs like We Gon' Make It and Show Discipline with Nas.
The Lox' material, like
the Lox material is strong. I'm just saying that Raekwon has classics with the group and as a solo artist, whereas Jada's missing that. I think bar for bar, MC for MC, it's debatable, but I put Raekwon above. For some of the other rappers, like an Old Dirty, I wouldn't do it.
I put Big L, Loki over Jadakiss as like New York Mount Rushmore. I would even consider Big Pun, bro. I'm not even gonna front. Like I'd consider Big Pun and Big L.
What about 50 Cent? That's a good debate. Maybe 50 goes above Jada.
Okay, Jadakiss is a sharper lyricist than 50 Cent is. I think that 50 Cent has been more iconic though to the East Coast.
In terms of a face for the East Coast, yes.
Especially like think about the competition that he came into, especially within the 2000s, right? Yeah. Jay-Z had it on lock, bro. He was outselling Jay-Z, bro.
I know.
He was outdoing Jay-Z. He was producing better quality records around that time as well. That's debatable. But at the same time,
I think Check would make some people put Jada above 50. But battle aside,
no, you can't just look at the battle at that point. Like
I think 50's been just a more important artist.
Do you put 50 over a GFK in this situation, or over a Method Man?
No, I don't think I do.
I think you have to have one of the Wu members on here from New York hip-hop.
The other thing too is there's Rakim. There's Rakim.
That's true.
In terms of a face, a founding father. Also, I'm going to count this, and this is who's actually going to replace Jadakiss for me, MF Doom. He was raised in New York, and he's kind of always taken on the mantle of being like a New York MC. He's found pride in that. I'm probably putting MF Doom.
Not for East Coast hip hop. He never repped East Coast hip hop.
But he did though.
But it wasn't
in terms of production style, in terms of his influences as an artist.
No, I get it. But like thinking about the material that 50 Cent laid out and Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, Jadakiss.
I get what you're saying.
Even Q-Tip.
In the DNA of the music, there's more of an East Coast sound. I understand.
Of course,
but
and like
that
it plays
said,
into that coast. Like he was also producing a lot of his music too in England too and in Europe. He was doing a lot of touring out there. I don't know. Like for me, it's like saying, okay, is Kanye West going to be on a Mount Rushmore for like an Atlanta, let's say,
Mount Rushmore? No, but he was born there. MF Doom spent like the majority of his upbringing in New York.
Anyways, I would consider Q-Tip as well in this conversation, looking at the Tribe catalog and even the influence on New York jazz hip hop, bro. Like you can't ignore that. I think there's
Prodigy too would be over.
There's a lot of different people, but I don't think there's a decisive fourth answer.
Decisive four, yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely a hard one. But okay, let's keep going on with this. Anything else, by the way, you want to add on NYC?
No.
Nothing? Let's go on to West Coast, all right? Tupac, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube.
This was done by Hot 97 and Devil Media. They're the ones that were linked in the graphic. But this is interesting because it doesn't specify if this is a rapper's list or not. It specified West Coast Mount Rushmore. So I guess if we're not looking at just Dr. Dre the rapper, then he gets the pass.
Where does Kendrick Lamar fit in here?
He fits in here.
Where does he go? Who leaves this conversation?
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's where it becomes.
That's the problem.
And I think he would look at this list and be like, bro, like I don't know if I fit here.
This is the thing. Again, if we're playing the game of like the faces of West Coast hip hop, you cannot remove Snoop Dogg. But if you're playing the game of better rapper and just like better discography, better artistry, everything combined, then Kendrick would swoop in and take out.
Well,
Snoop's
obviously
spot.
Kendrick Lamar is a better rapper than Snoop Dogg, but
and better artist. I want to say he's a better artist.
Yes, better catalog, better everything.
Yeah.
He's always repped the West Coast. Like he's made full albums around Los Angeles and around Compton.
Yeah,
like, the influence of G-Funk has always been
what he
prominent
did
with his music.
for like the revival of West Coast hip hop in the 2020s too, being part of that wave alongside Vince and Q.
Yeah, but like I don't know, bro. Like when you look at a guy like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, like they literally birthed the genre of G-Funk.
I know.
With Nate Dogg and Dog Pound and like everything that was coming out of the West Coast in the 90s.
So
it's hard to like just take out Snoop Dogg. Like you said, like think about a Mount Rushmore.
It's hard to remove him.
You can't do it. But again, like this is
how do you not have Kendrick in here, bro? It's a crime.
I think it comes down to Ice Cube. I think if you really want to bring it down to something, it becomes Ice Cube. But he's always repped it heavily too.
Yeah, and he's almost just as responsible for making West Coast hip hop what it is, the same way that Snoop and Dre
even from like
were.
a politically standpoint,
that's
like,
it.
He's like the godfather of the writing of the West Coast, you know? Like,
I think it's a case of like right now, this Rushmore, the way it's laid out, makes the most sense because we've seen the influence and impact over decades from these guys, whereas Kendrick is still like putting in the work.
Like you're 15 years in now. At this point in Kendrick's career, you can't start using that argument here.
I'm
like a 15-year run. You're not talking about a 5-year run. You know?
This is where I stand. Last thing I'll say for this, in terms of iconic nature and just like legendary status, this makes sense. But if you want to talk about the greatest West Coast hip hop artist ever, Kendrick could replace Snoop or Cube for me. That's kind of what it is.
I'm on the same vibe. But this one's valid, though.
Yeah, it's valid.
All right, let's take a little break in programming. Out of the hip-hop genre, this one was awesome because we were talking about this, and honestly, bro, this makes perfect sense, but I'm going to bring in some key figures here. This is a 420 Mount Rushmore. This is for the Blazers. This is for the people, like, if you're in this culture, then this is your Mount Rushmore. Yeah. So this was from Complex. You had Snoop Dogg, Bob Marley, Wiz Khalifa, and Seth Rogen.
This is a pretty goated Rushmore. I'm not going to lie to you,
Where does Willie Nelson fit into
Willie Nelson?
Come on. Willie has to fit somewhere in here.
Bro, he literally has... I found this a while ago, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, one of his lyrics in one of his songs is like, roll me up and smoke me when I die. That's literally what he wants.
It's Willie fucking Nelson.
It's Willie Nelson. He's a goat. I want to say this, too. I was surprised that there weren't any sightings of Cheech and Chong, bro. Like, I feel like this generation is sleeping on Cheech and Chong, looking at, like, old movies like Up in Smoke. Like, these guys literally, in that movie, smoke dog shit just to get a buzz. Because, like, there was weed inside of the dog shit, and it's just, it's fucking,
go
it's
to
classic,
movie,
bro.
go to movies, go to material. All right, but let's have the serious conversation here. Snoop Dogg lock.
Yeah, he's a lock.
Snoop Dogg is an absolute...
If the Rushmore was down to only one face, it'd be Snoop.
Yeah, I don't know. Him over Bob Marley is a crazy conversation. Yeah, Bob has to be at number one. Okay, Bob Marley, Snoop. Anyway, sake of conversation, Bob Marley,
Snoop
Dogg.
You're right. Bob would probably go before Snoop.
Yes, but where it becomes difficult is with Wiz Khalifa and Seth Rogen because they both came up in the 2010s decade as far as like mainstream entertainment goes. Seth Rogen obviously striving in more film and media, and then after that, when you look at Wiz, it was a lot more on the music side of things. So,
who would you rather have in the blunt rotation? I think that's the question. Seth Rogen or Wiz? Seth Rogen, I want there just for the laugh, bro. Like, that's all he's got to do. Crack some jokes and experience that in person. But Wiz just has more of, like, the energy of, like, just...
It's like a modern Snoop Dogg, you know? Yeah. Like, that's the way that I feel about his music, about his catalog. You could bump his music as well. Probably freestyle for you, too, like, while within the rotation.
Yeah.
But are you taking out any of these guys for Willie Nelson?
Yeah, I would probably take out Seth. My guy Seth, who, again, I love Pineapple Express. I love The Interview. I love all those stoner type of movies where he's just having a good time blazing one up. But ultimately speaking, bro, you have to have Willie Nelson in here.
Yeah, but think about
think about
lighting one up and watching Superbad, for example, and then Seth Rogen.
So goated,
bro. I'm just like Seth Rogen's catalog is scary, bro.
It's a stacked fucking comedy catalog.
He's an all-time comedian, bro.
You know what? For myself, if I'm the one picking it, you're right. I'm probably choosing Seth over Willie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're keeping this.
We're keeping it.
Yeah, for like my personal, absolutely. Blunt rotation, this would definitely be it.
All right, let's go on back to music. We have Rap TV's 2020's Mount Rushmore. And disclaimer, they made this in 2023, but I thought it was interesting because even for 2023, it was still flawed. So we have Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, and Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, the locks here. Travis for sure. Travis has to be a lock.
Travis is a lock. He could be a lock. Is he, though?
Travis a lock, bro.
I think the real only, like, solidified lock is K-Dot. Even Drake, I feel like, again, if you're looking at
he's kept the lights on.
He's kept the lights on in the building, but again, in terms of, it goes back to the thing of, like, who are the faces of the genre in the 2020s? Drake is, for sure. That being said, is he making some of the best music of the 2020s? No.
Like, bro, we're not putting JPEG Mafia over Drake in a Mount Rushmore graphic, but for the 2010s of hip-hop.
This is my point, though. It goes back to the same argument we've been having for Rushmores this whole way through. If you're looking at the iconic, who's the face of the genre, yes, it's Drake over JPEG.
But if you're looking at dropping dog shit the entire decade.
But I'm just saying
he's dropped quality.
I'm just saying his resume next to someone like Tyler, even for example,
yes,
night and day,
but Drake is not the bro. First of all, get Uzi out of here.
Yeah, Uzi's getting the fuck out.
Get Uzi out of here. Like the reason why I would consider J. Cole, but I'm not sure I'm going to put him over Tyler, is just the output as far as solo catalog
not
goes.
Been as solid as Tyler's, but as a rapper and MC, of course,
top form, obviously, goated feature versus the off season. That's the only argument you could make. I think the way that this is absolutely complete is you take out Uzi and you put up Tyler.
Yeah.
And then you could even make the argument for Cardi just because he was like most influential of this decade and iconic albums for this decade. But at the same time, like, Who's getting out of here for Playboi Carti?
So let me ask you this, okay? So if we're keeping it just to the faces, the most iconic, the guys that have been driving the genres forward and been like the forefront of the attention of everyone, Drake, Kendrick, Travis, Tyler, right?
Yes.
Now for the best, who would it be?
Best rappers of this decade. Didn't we do an episode on this? I would have to go back and look at what I put as my number 1 to 4 as far as my power rankings.
Got you.
But for a Mount Rushmore, I'm keeping this. I think Drake has kept the lights on, especially during COVID. Bro, this guy was dropping.
For sure.
This guy was one of the only mainstream artists when you had guys like J. Cole, Kendrick, Travis that were low-key taking some breaks. This guy was dropping every single year.
Yeah, but when you're dropping some mediocre music, it's like, okay, bro.
But there was a lot of quality within that. I know you look at it from a totality view where it's like, this is the body of work, but within that body of work, there's still a lot of wonderful records. Sure. And obviously with more output, there's going to be flaws. So the way that I keep this, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Travis, and I keep Tyler there.
I agree with that for, again, in terms of like the faces for the 2020s, but in terms of just quality, probably Kendrick, Tyler, JPEG, and then you could put in J. Cole or Travis, I guess. But all right, next up we have the male R&B Mount Rushmore. This one comes to us from R&B Music. This is interesting because you have Michael Jackson, Usher, Chris Brown, and Neo. And Michael Jackson is someone that I would more so want to do like a whole pop Rushmore for instead.
But like if you're
I feel like
Michael
he's
Jackson,
always been labeled as like the king of pop. That's always been the genre he's been into, even though technically, obviously, there's music and material off of projects like Off the Wall where it is R&B music.
But that's the same thing. Is like, are you putting Marvin Gaye in this conversation now?
Are you putting Stevie Wonder in here?
Yeah, because those are both artists that were heavily driven by R&B and soul music.
I guess you have to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, okay, if we're considering, let's say pure R&B music, think pure R&B music. It's hard to exclude Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye out of there.
Those are locks.
They have to be locks. Yeah. Alongside Michael Jackson, and then after that, I put D'Angelo next to them.
D'Angelo is a great fucking pick.
That would be it for me. Like, I understand people have the iconic factor with Usher and Chris Brown. I don't think Chris Brown could even tie like Stevie Wonder's like shoelaces, bro. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. Even Neo being in here is a bit like.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know about like.
Are
Listen,
you sure?
There's classic songs in there like the "Let Me Love You's," the "Closers," but I know he's in a lot of songwriting stuff. But compared to the list of people you have over like a Lionel Richie, like.
I don't know.
I don't know, Chief.
Even Lionel Richie's fucking incredible vocalist. And R&B music for me is always comes down to the vocals, right? So even Chris Brown or Neo as vocalists, I don't think they're as good as Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, or even a Lionel Richie, a D'Angelo. I guess if you want to keep Michael Jackson, honestly, even for the sake of this game, I wouldn't even put Michael Jackson in here.
What about like a Beyonce in terms of? Oh no,
it's a male list.
It's male, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole completely different.
A whole other thing on its own.
Yeah, for sure. We could do that list if you want, by the way.
But yeah,
the way that I would do this, okay, R&B considered. I don't give a fuck. Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye did make R&B music. There was that type of R&B centric sound to their records. I would do Stevie Wonder. I would do Marvin Gaye. Low-key, I wouldn't even include Michael Jackson in here just for the sake of this conversation. I think it's a valid pick, but just for the sake of it, I would do D'Angelo, and then I would do Usher.
Usher's fair. I mean,
iconic factor for that, you know? Like, think about the way that he drove R&B in the 2000s.
Yeah,
Justin Timberlake numbers, bro.
Again, there's still other people like Luther Vandross, and there's people like fucking Ronald Isley from the Isley Brothers. Like, there's still other people that to me are a bit more talented vocally and that have given me more classic material. But
Usher's a wonderful songwriter and vocalist.
Mine would be similar to yours with Stevie, Marvin, D'Angelo, and then my fourth would probably be Lionel or
Luther Vandross.
Yeah, or one of those guys, one of the OGs. But next up, the last Rushmore. This actually got a lot of steam, even though the topic is more niche. A lot of people were giving their takes on this on Twitter. This is the underground rap Mount Rushmore, and it was from the last 15 years, so 2010 to 2025. This came to us from Nor_MCC on Twitter.
Kazalok.
So I want to read them out.
Yeah.
Cat, Rock Marciano, West Side Gun.
What a wonderful.
And then a fourth spot open.
I love the three here.
The three's great,
They
bro.
represent all different sections of the underground hip-hop scene. I think West Side Gun's one of the best curators and really pushed the underground hip-hop scene forward, especially in the late 2010s, early 2020s. His curation skills are on a completely different level from everyone else. Rock Marciano, classic record, self-explanatory. You don't even have to argue that. Top 50 rapper of all time. Ka, the cinematic value in his writing, the way that he set up setting and all the complicated rhyme schemes and the way that everything kind of flowed together. Genius as far as the lyricists go. You could argue that he would be on a Mount Rushmore for even lyricists, low-key. All genre considered.
Yep.
All genre. So those three are locks. Fourth, I think it probably goes to Blue.
Fourth, you can go with Blue or Billy Woods. Those are the guys that I was
put Blue
looking
in front
at.
of Billy Woods.
I think that, yeah, those three are locks because Rock Marciano gave us this wave and this production style of the drumless loops going all the way back to Marsburg and then continuing with quality records like Reloaded and everything he's done since, hooking up with The Alchemist and just even producing like Stove God Cooks' Reasonable Drought. Like Rock Marcy as a producer deserves love. And then with Billy Woods, it is a special catalog. There's even Mac Homie, who I want to give a shout to, who's been really killing it. And then here's my question.
Yeah.
Like the same reason why we're not including JPEG here, because he's kind of beyond underground now. I feel like he's like not mainstream, but like he's in that middle pocket. Do you put West Side Gun in that middle pocket too, where it's like he's part of the underground sound and like brought up, like came up through it?
Would you put JPEG Mafia over West Side Gun at that point? Everything considered on Mount Rushmore, I wouldn't.
No, because of the movement that West Side Gun
created and like the way that he mastered and puppeted everything.
But all I'm saying is that it's like, if it wasn't for West Side Gun's influence and impact on the underground scene, technically you wouldn't qualify because he's kind of like, bro, this is a guy that has like probably like 3 million monthlies or something. Like he's like almost out of the zone of a Rock Marcy who has a smaller audience and who's really
That's
underground.
True. Like if
you
you really want to play it on that level, then okay. So let's say 1 million's the cutoff. You go Kyle, you go Rock Marciano, you probably go Blue, and then after
Billy
that,
Woods. That's what
like
I'd
you
go
do,
with.
but like yeah.
Or Mac, you go Mac Homie too.
I wouldn't. I personally prefer Matt Comey's solo
Yeah.
catalog over Billy Woods. That's just me though. But that's like, yeah, I think you'd probably be around there. I'm sure there's underground rappers though that were missed. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up a list before we leave this episode. I feel like
Sky Zoo is someone that I want to put respect on. Like he's someone that's never slowed down in terms of just like album consistency. Shout out to Sky Zoo. Yeah, for myself, those are really the main ones.
Underground hip hop artist Eminem. I'm not sure, Chief.
Yeah, no, don't trust Wiki for underground shit. But no, I think
Tupac Shakur, Big L. I don't know. Danny Brown. I'm not sure. Ken Carson, Earl Sweatshirt.
Nah,
I don't know.
Like Earl's like he's definitely got. It's funny. Earl, I feel like has almost become more underground as his career's.
But he always had that sound. Like, how many?
He has, but it's like I feel like his listenership maybe kind of just became a bit more.
Okay, over and under Earl Sweatshirt monthlies. How many do you think? Over 2 million, under 2 million.
I think he's had over 2 mil.
2.3.
Yeah, just about over. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has records with over 100 million streams like Chum and Riot. So I don't think it's as easy as just putting him on this Mount Rushmore. But guys, that is going to conclude today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and let us know. Is there any other Mount Rushmores that we should be reacting to? Let us know your Mount Rushmores in the comments section for all these types of different categories. Were our picks valid? Were our changes valid? Let me know as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.